Let's look at this one. All right, so now here in this question, it's financial maths. In this question, Bar Makaba, me, takes out a loan of 7,000 for 2 years. If the interest rate is 13% per annum, what is the total amount he will pay? So now from the get-go, what should come to mind is the formula of interest rate or to calculate loans. Simple interest. Okay, A is equal to P, open bracket, Emma, open bracket, 1 plus I times, this dot means times, times N. And then now from this equation, this kamo, your R, this is your final amount. Let's just call it final amount. It has a name, but for now let's call it the final amount. And then your P, this one here, this is, Leonard has a name, but let's call it the initial amount, the amount you borrow. This is the amount you borrow. So to be consistent with the above definition, so now the final amount, we can say total amount you will pay. This is the total amount of money that you will pay. That you will pay. Sharp feed. Now, next one. This is the interest rate, the percentage. We call it the interest rate. See? Now, this is the interest rate. We represent it as a fraction. So now, in line with that, before we look at N, so now our interest rate increment is 13. So in other words, according to this, our interest rate represents as a fraction, it's over 13 over 100. Now, this is 13%. So percentage in fraction is always the number, in this case, this one divided by 100. Always. See, even if more you have, for instance, but let me take a different color more. Let's say they gave you 26%, and then but represent this as a fraction. So now it's over 26 divided by 100. Now this is in the sign. This sign, this line looks like a 1, and then we have our first 0 on top and our second 0 on top. So this one, it gives us 100. So that's why we divide by 100. I'm kidding, that's not why, but it looks like 112. Now, lastly, we have our N. N is our number of years. This is the number of years, aka the duration. Number of years. Nazo, okay. Sharp feeding. Now we're on the go. So now, from the thingy on top, which color should I use? Well, yellow, yeah. Mustard. Perfect. So now, from our statement demo, let's highlight the very important things. So now, Barbuta Makaba takes out a loan of 7,000. This is, remember we said this one is the amount you borrow, Anker. So now, this is our P, amount we borrow. And then for 2 years. So now this tells us the amount of time that Makaba takes out the loan for. So it has to be our N. Now, if the interest rate is 13%, now we have already looked at it, or 13% is our I, and then we represent it in terms of a fraction. And then now, what is the total amount he will pay? See that? Now, in our equation, R, we don't have it, anchor. We want the total amount, aka the final amount. So now R is equal to P. We have it, anchor. They gave us P, but it's 7,000. So we replace our P into this. Hold on. We replace our P into this. So retro 7,000. This is the amount that Makaba borrows into 1 plus, and then I is our 13 over 100. So now we put 13 over 100, and then the dot means times, Anker. So times the number of years. How many years did he borrow this thing for? He borrowed it for 2 years. So now we put our 2 more. And then now if you put this in a calculator, in the bracket you should get 13 over 100 times 2. This should give me 26 over 100, and then 26 over 100 plus 1, or 1 plus 26 over 100, this should give me 1,26. Libon. So now when we put this in our calculator, there is 7,000 times 1,26, we should get 8,000 something rands. So it's 8,000. Nazo we get 8,820 rands. So now Makaba will pay a total of 8,820 rands. Now the rest of the money, you'll notice, sorry, this money, our R is bigger than our P. Now the rest of the money is what we call our interest. So when you borrow money from a bank, it gains something we call interest. So this is the interest. Now we can also calculate, the question didn't ask us to calculate the interest, but for interest sake, we can also calculate the interest. So now to calculate the interest, we give it capital letter I. This is our interest. To calculate the interest, interest is R minus P. This is R, increase the final amount minus the amount that we start with. So now the total interest that the money gained will be our R, we just calculated it to be 8820 minus our P. This is the amount that Makaba borrows, which is 7,000. So now R minus P in Papakai, 8820 minus 7,000. So now the money gained an interest of 1,820. This is how banks make money. This is the bank's profit, by the way. This is the bank's. So that's why banks give loans, to get this money, okay, to get your interest rate. Libon. But now the question didn't ask us for this, Anker. This is just for interest sake. Banks make money from your interest rate.